Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm in the process of making a top. It's a design that I released on my pattern shops. It's supposed to be a skirt and a top, and I decided to come on here and address a few issues, not issues as such. So many of your questions that people sent in from the Instagram poll or the Instagram story. I asked some people to ask questions that they had some doubts about, and today I am going to work with you guys and also try to finish up my project that I am working on right now. I had already recorded this video. Unfortunately, the audio was so bad that I couldn't upload this video. So I am in the process of making a top. Both these patterns are up on my online shops. That includes Etsy, Ravelry, Coffee, and on my website. So both these patterns are up. So I'm making for a size small, and I'm following the written pattern. As you can see here, I'm a size small, and this is how the top is supposed to fit. And this pattern goes from extra small all the way to XL. So yes, let's begin with the very first question is what yarn do you use? So this is a question that keeps popping up every other time. I don't even know how to address it, but I use so much yarn from different places. I usually purchase yarn from literally anyone who has yarn that impresses me. I've purchased yarn from Nairobi, Kenya, from Mombasa, from Tanzania. I've purchased yarn from Turkey, from US. So I just keep switching depending on my heart's desires. So whenever I see yarn, just make sure you purchase from a trusted site. One of the sites that I can give you guys is Hobbian Yarns. I've worked with them before. I've worked with Lion brand before as well. And from East Africa, if you want to purchase yarn, I haven't yet opened a yarn store, but that's in plan for me. I hope to open one soon, but for now I have to purchase from my sisters and brothers in Kenya. In Uganda there is Lana Yarns, there's Yarns Plus. In Tanzania there's Lifetime Crochet, I think that's her username. In Kenya there is Osona Yarns or Johat Yarns. That was the old name, but now she is known as Osona Yarns. So she has a branch in Mombasa as well as Nairobi, Kenya. So I've purchased yarn from her before and I've never been disappointed. I get my yarn on time. It usually takes about 2 days or even less, depending on the time that the package is sent out. And those packages usually arrive by bus, so you have to give it about 2 days and you have your package here. So that is for the East Africans who want to purchase from Tanzania and Kenya. Now when it comes to DHL, I don't know their terms and conditions, because when I'm purchasing from East Africa, I don't go to the expensive end. I try my best to cut costs, so I end up using bus. So yes, when it comes to the international brands or the international stores, of course they will determine how they will ship their stuff, but you have to also consider the shipping fees. It's quite high, but if you really want something, I think it's worth investing in. So I usually pay for the shipping fees, and I usually receive my packages either through DHL or FedEx. That's for the international stores. I think that question is answered. I use so much yarn, I just cannot be like, this is the yarn that I use. I don't use only one brand. I've used so many brands, and even up to today I am still buying more and more brands of yarn. I don't even know why, because my office is full of yarn, but I am still buying more and more because each and every day I'm seeing more beautiful yarn. So yeah, I would like to work with so many other brands. Hopefully they'll reach out, or I can reach out to them. But if you want me to try out your yarns, I'm open to that. And yes, let's go on to the next question. How do you ship? This is one question that pops up a lot, especially for the very small businesses. So many people, not even only the crochet artists, so many people ask me how I ship, because they want to ship different items or try to ship packages from one country to another. So for me, my trusted source is DHL. I try my best to use DHL because I have never been, yes, okay, I've ever been disappointed once, but that's because the client gave me the wrong address and the package ended up getting lost along the way. And I don't blame that on DHL, because it wasn't their fault. But for the times that I've used DHL, you guys know very well, I usually post on my Instagram stories when packages are going out. And DHL is my go-to because I can track. They usually send me the tracking number, which I end up sharing with a client on the day that the item is shipped. So when I take the package to DHL and they give me the tracking number, I send them the procedure of how they can track their item until it's received. It usually takes less than a week to get to the different destinations, even US, even Turkey. I've shipped to Russia, I've shipped to Jamaica, I've shipped to South Africa, and it usually takes less than a week, unless if there are any challenges along the way. But it's usually not a very long process. The moment the item is done, I usually count 1 week off for shipping, which I also let my client know, because we have to estimate the time period from the time the order is made until the time that the order is delivered. So that's one thing that you have to consider. You have to communicate, have an open communication with your clients, so that everything can work out smoothly and they know exactly what to expect from you. So that's how I ship. I haven't tried any other method, so I won't speak for them because I haven't had any experience with them. So this is finished. Another question is how to sell. How to sell has so many different aspects. How do I sell? Like, is it items or PDF patterns, or what exactly do you mean? Because, okay, I'll just touch on the surface and try to explain the different things, but maybe this one needs its own video on its own, because it's a very wide area to cover in just one statement or a few sentences. So how to sell? You can sell services, you can sell physical items, you can sell digital products, that includes the PDF patterns and all, and you can sell the materials. For example, I'm a crochet artist that people trust and look up to, so I can end up selling the materials that I use. So I can recommend maybe yarn, and then I have a yarn store that sells that yarn and people can come and purchase. Then I can also come up with my own designs, and then I sell them on Etsy, Ravelry, Coffee, and on my website. Those are the designs. Then I can sell the physical goods as well. When someone reaches out to me to place an order, I can go ahead and work on that order for them, and then they can purchase that item. That's the physical, the digital, and then the material. And then you can also sell services. For example, if someone wants to learn, you can teach them how to crochet, and also teach them the different techniques that they may want to learn. So many people may come with a different approach. They may already know how to crochet, but they don't know how to make a particular design. So you can teach them how to do that at a fee. So that's how I sell for my business. I try my best to look for new opportunities to make my business wider and to benefit me as a person, because crocheting is my full-time job full time. I don't have anything else that I do. So that's how to sew. And then how to size. You guys, I can't explain this enough. I can't emphasize this enough. Try your best to have a measuring tape with you. And even when you're getting an order from a client, try your best to get the measurements that you're dealing with. Most of these guys can get a measuring tape. Someone can tell you I'm a size 16, but when it comes to size 16, I'll look it up and see the range of the measurements when it comes to the bust, the hip, the waist, all the different aspects. But I try my best to tell them if you can get a measuring tape and help me measure the specific points that are needed for a particular design, so that when I start working on the item, I am not confused about, I think her hip measurement is this, I think her bust measurement is this. I usually don't give room for doubt. So I usually ask for those measurements before I even start on the order. So that's one thing that so many people ask me about. Do you ask for the measurements from the clients? Yes, I do. I try my best to do that. And I don't think I've ever worked with any client that I haven't gotten measurements from. So until they send their measurements, that's when we can start processing the order. Then that's one thing that you have to note. Always have your measuring tape with you and keep referring to the measurements of the client, because you're not God, you're not going to work magic. We all come in different shapes and sizes, so you should know exactly who you're working with. Then, how many hours do you crochet in a day? I don't know. Honestly, I don't. I think I crochet for, if I decide to crochet and I'm in the mood to crochet, for example, today, I've already started at around, let me say, I started crocheting at around 9 and it's already 10 and I plan to go the whole day. Excuse me. I plan to go until I am done with what I'm doing. So this one, I'm just trying to recreate a design, just like I showed you at the beginning of the video. I'm trying to make it in another color because when I was writing the pattern, I tried my best to be hands-on so that I don't mess it up, because it had so many figures when it came to the written pattern. I had to get a size range from extra small to XXL, and there were so many figures to deal with when it came to this design. So I tried to make sure that I make a physical product so that I don't lose track of the number of rows and the number of stitches and all that. So this one can take me a while. It's going to take me a very short time until I'm done. You can see I've already crossed over, and if you guys want to get the written pattern for this, you can check all the links will be in the description box below so that you can get a copy of this. So the only challenge is I'm running out of yarn, and I don't know if this yarn is going to be able to make me finish this project all the way to the end, but hopefully, fingers crossed, I still have this, and I don't think this is going to be enough for the whole project. I'm praying it's enough, but I don't think so. I still have a long way to go. And yeah, I think, how many hours do I crochet? It can be between 6 to 8 to 10 hours. 6 to 10 on a good day. On a bad day, I can even take only like 2 hours. Depends on my mood and how much I have to cover for that day. So sometimes it's a tutorial, and you know tutorials take time, so I have to be on camera for a very long time trying to explain this and that, and in that case I take even longer if I have to do a tutorial for you guys. So that's it for the hours. Then what are you currently working on? I have already explained what I'm working on. I'm working on a top that's supposed to match this skirt. So this is going to be, I feel like it's a very beautiful set. It's that subtle color. There are those pastel colors. It's very, very, very light pink. And I think at the end of this project, it's going to look very beautiful, as you can see here. it's just a beautiful color. So I just decided to go with this because I didn't think I was going to use it for anything else. It was just yarn lying around and I decided to use it. But hopefully it can be enough to finish up the whole project, because I'm not planning on introducing any other color in this project. I just want it to be as plain as it can be. And then also I still have fringes to attach to the skirt at the bottom, and then I'll be able to sell it off or put it up on my website for sale. So I'm going to be making some listings on my website for physical products, because I feel like I have so many projects that I haven't yet sold off, and I think they're beautiful projects, and if I don't put them out there, then I'm just doing a disservice to myself, because I invested my time and energy, and some people may want to purchase these items but they don't even know that they are available. So this can be made in any color. This is me marketing myself, by the way. This can be made in any color. If you want to purchase this design, please reach out to me. You can email me or send me a DM on Instagram or message me. Any way that you can reach out to me, you can get this particular set in any color of your choice, be it yellow, maroon, black, whatever you want. I can make it in any color of your choice. So this is me marketing my physical products. As I told you, you can sell in any aspect. You can make a YouTube tutorial, you can sell a digital pattern, you can sell a physical item, so all that wrapped into one. Then the last question that came in from you guys was gauge or gauge, or I don't know the pronunciation. It could be gauge, it could be gauge, whatever it is. It's how to determine the sizing of a garment basing on the measurements of the stitches. That's how I can explain it. So for those who don't know what gauge is or gauge is, when I write a pattern for you, we are using particular hooks and yarns, but sometimes this yarn and hook may not be the same exact as what another person has. So when I talk of gauge or gauge, I make a small swatch, it could be a box, and I determine that for this pattern I worked with a 4mm crochet hook with a DK weight yarn, but 9 stitches of 6 rows gives you 2 inches. That means it's a 2 by 2 box, 2 inches by 2 inches square. So when I say that, you're going to get whatever yarn that you're using, and you get a hook that's going to give you that measurement. 9 stitches of 6 rows gives you 2 inches by 2 inches. So that way, once you get a hook, it could be a 3 depending on your tension, depending on your stitching, depending on the thickness of the yarn, depending on so many things. Once you get a hook that can give you that specific measurement of 9 stitches of 6 rows equals 2 inches. That means when you fit in the number of stitches that I'm talking about for a pattern, for example this one, if I say chain, let me say 100, make how many rows and what, you're going to fit into my pattern very perfectly well. You're not going to struggle with sizing. That's what gauge means, or gauge, because so many people are confused about this term. They're wondering what's the use of a gauge swatch. This is to fit into the designer's measurements, so that when you're working, you don't have to overthink this pattern and alter it into something else, because you may end up distorting it. So that's what gauge means. I hope I've explained it well. Maybe let me know in the comment section if you want a more detailed video on gauge, swatch, and sizing, those terms, because I think that's where most people are having a challenge when it comes to sizing. But all that depends on the gauge or the gauge of the pattern that you're working with. So yes, I think that was the last question. I don't remember getting any other question, unless, well, let me try and see if there was any question that came in. Any other question that came in? Okay. What is an increase and decrease in crochet, and how do you do it? This is a very big one for me, because different patterns increase differently. People can decide to increase something differently, so you have to just pay attention to. Increasing means you're increasing maybe the number of stitches or widening the design. Decreasing means the opposite. You're either decreasing the number of stitches or narrowing down the design. For example, when you get to the waist, if someone is like, decrease so that you can get your waist measurement, and then start increasing to cover your hip measurement. So different designs increase differently. I can't talk one way for that, because there's so many aspects. I've worked with so many designs. I have so many designs that when it comes to increasing, I'm doing like different things altogether when it comes to decreasing and increasing. You should do a video on how to write a pattern. I'll try to find time to make a pattern for this, to make a whole video tutorial for this. We shall write a simple pattern together so that we see how everything turns out. How to make bigger or smaller sizes in shorts, detailed explaining. I think that one I'll have to also do a tutorial, full tutorial, when we are working together and I'm making for my specific size, so that we see exactly what goes on when I'm making these pieces. How to price crochet items. How to price crochet items. This will be my very last question, because this is a very sensitive one. You have seen someone selling a bucket hat at $1,000, and this is something that could take between 1 hour and 2 hours to make. But know exactly what you're looking for in your business. Know your worth. We have seen people overprice or underprice. You're going to determine what your worth is at this point. I'm not going to speak for you. I'm not going to determine how you should price your items. Just find a good balance that doesn't squeeze you, that is comfortable for you to keep your business running. If you feel like that price is not selling, then I don't think this is something that you should be doing. Of course you can do it, but maybe you should be gifting out your items, because it doesn't make any sense making pieces that you're not selling off, yet your goal is to sell items. There are some people who crochet for fun and they gift their loved ones. There are those people who have that approach. But if you're into business and you try to price your items and you're not breaking even, you're not getting the cut for your business, then I don't think your goal is reached, and I don't think it's worth it. So you have to sit down and re-strategize and know exactly how to price your. Maybe you overpriced. That's why people are not coming through. So maybe you have to go down a bit, and if it works for you, go ahead and continue to price your items like that. I'm not going to speak for anyone. Everyone has their own prices. Sometimes even if you go lower, some people will never appreciate the price that you've put onto your craft. Sometimes people are like, it's just thread, it's just crochet, it should be cheap, it's handmade. So it's you to know exactly where you stand with your prices and know exactly how to go about the pricing points of your items. So I think that's it for today. I am still in the process of working this top. It's building up, yes, not as fast as I wanted, because I've been doing more of the talking than working. But yeah, I think that answers most of the questions that were sent to me. I hope I've covered, I think I've given you some tips and some ideas of how to go about your crochet business, and I'll get off camera and continue working this beautiful top. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye. Thanks for watching.